let's talk about participation trophies.
Ah,
This is probably one of my most important thing. Okay, we're done, Seth.
brownie points.
Recorded at the construction site.
If you hear a lot of back in the background, just know we recorded in Lagos. It's, this is Lagos.
Participation trophies. I want to be in the industry because, or I want to set up my own label because. I was talking to PD about collaboration, and one of the things we agree on is collaboration is highly determined by value exchange. So I can only collaborate with you because you have something of value to me, not just for the sake of collaborating. So now we're in a space where everybody is expecting a benefit from this industry simply because they are in it.
I'm here.
What's your take?
It's problematic. It's problematic as fuck. Can I swear?
You've been swearing since.
Okay. It's problematic because people want to jump the process. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that we're in the social media age and clout is the new whatever. People want to jump the process. They just want to jump. This applies in every part of the industry or even media. I remember once in a while, because I was trying to remember my stuff, but this happens a lot. Once in a while, you just see somebody write an article and post on Medium, and everybody that is that person's guy says, "Yo, fire article, yo, nice one." But when you read it from the perspectives that you have, this nigga talking shit.
Yeah.
You're saying trash. Like you are very ignorant. And it also comes back. I like how the conversation we're having today is connecting. It comes back to the information the person does not have.
Yeah.
Also comes back to the lack of or the absence of an OG.
Someone that should have said, "Don't put that thing out."
This is a current problem in the Nigerian. I'm just going to say here now. This is a serious problem in the Nigerian music media space. It's a serious problem now. You see some shit, you read some shit, and you're like, what? It's a serious problem. 5, 6, 7, 3, 4 years ago, some people came out and some people were declared the next best thing after Fela. They were the new kings. They were the 3, 4 years later, they are nowhere. A Joe Boy, a Rema, a Fireboy came out in less than a year, and they are far bigger than these people. So the people that wrote them that said they were were they wrong? Of course they were wrong. But it came from the point that they just wanted to. Everybody is doing it, so let us. Participation trophies. It's a big problem. Sometimes on Twitter I see this has grown into an issue on Twitter where people say, everybody now na A&R. Now so everybody now be A&R. I mean, we need more A&Rs. Let's actually be very serious. We need more A&Rs because every Friday you listen to singles that are not singles. Yeah, so that shows you that we have an A&R problem. But at the same time, the people who are making those statements say, everybody in A&R these days, and some of them are, they are just being silly and mocking. But there's also the problem of
everybody being an A&R.
Yeah, there's also that problem of,
So my response to this one is a story of. It's not a story. Basically, I think the problem is a lot of A&Rs think they're managers, and a lot of managers think they're A&Rs.
I don't think that's even the problem.
I think that's one of it. Because I'll tell you why. Just because you identified someone's talent doesn't mean you can manage the person's business.
Exactly.
Right? And I feel because of the work of identifying the talent, people feel like they have to be the ones sitting in the meetings and finding the business, and because the endorsement, where is money after all my work? Where is the money going to come from? And that's the first talking, because you brought up that A&R conversation. And so I see people who say, I'm an A&R, even especially a lot of young guys that are like, I'm an A&R. I'm like, okay, I'm an A&R manager. And they say, boss, so how many albums have you A&R? Like, I'm not an A&R. Like, but you've worked with this person. As I've worked with them, but like when I was managing one day, when one day is in the studio, I'm not there. If I'm there, I'm just admiring and amazed
by the process.
I mean, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
I won't say I'm the guy that told him do this, say it like this. I'm not the guy. I'm the guy that's like, give me what I can sell.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like this thing about doing it because everyone is doing it. It is the job that everybody is doing now. So as an A&R, I can get an opportunity. I can be in the studio. I don't know what is the motivation.
How did A&R become like the hottest job in the music space now? Like, how did that happen? A&R's even getting paid? What's going on?
I think the number one problem that we have, I think as much as there's information, it's also the part of responsibility.
Yeah.
I want to say this. It's the part of responsibility because you are responsible enough. You understand that you are making mistakes. You understand that you might be making mistakes.
Fair enough.
And you will seek to correct it. So a lot of people, like he was saying another time, people want to jump the process. Like, a lot of people don't have to work ethic in this space right now. They don't want to work.
So is it because me, I believe that we're in a generation, even from my generation, we got to a point where we didn't do what our parents told us to do. We did what we saw. Right? So is the issue that does it go back to the fact that the people before
they saw them do that?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so. Do you know why?
So. I don't think
so. See,
that.
Look at what happened.
I mean, because this is something people say.
I don't know. It's not. It's a lie.
So, okay.
See, your generation did grunt work.
Yeah.
With no templates.
People, I look at platforms these days and I see people who are editors. Whatever editors. What have you done? I'm not saying times have changed, no problem, and opportunities, doors will keep on opening when new platforms and new things are springing up.
Yeah.
You should be working and learning. You have to understand that. But you know why they don't understand that? Because there's a part of ego. I don't want to work under anybody. And it's also laziness manifesting as ego. You don't want to work. You don't want to grind.
You don't want to learn.
Some people, see, I will say it here. IJGB people are the worst.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh
you don't want to work.
Oh my God. So,
see, wait. Like, a lot of people will come. Look at what I wanted to say something during the lockdown. Do you know the amount of, like, the fact that we were condensed in one space throughout the lockdown? Things started happening. There was a day that Larry Lawal tweeted, how many professionals do we have in this music industry?
Exactly.
Hot takes.
Left and right.
If anybody has not, I don't go to my TL anymore because it's a mess. It's a mess. I don't go there.
You have to deal with the stands, and then you have to deal with the so-called professionals.
So if I want to say anything, I say it and I move on. I check my mentions, and if you are saying rubbish, I move on. I don't have energy for you. There's too much to do.
It's just people not wanting to do the work.
Bro, and do you know how I learned this thing? Before I joined Pulse, right? I co-founded a platform with a couple of my friends, Urban Central, and I thought, oh my God, the shit. Oh my God. And a lot of people were
hailing you, of course.
People will give you, but then I got to a point, and then I read an article that I wrote about 2 months prior, and I was like, nah, bro, this is rubbish. The article got about 76 reviews. So I saw it. I read it 2 days ago. I was laughing. So I was like, man, I need to go learn. That's a part of responsibility. When I got there, see, I am data. Shout out to you. I will write an article, right? AOC was the first boss that I had that. He didn't want me to become anything other than myself, right? He just wanted you to be the best version of yourself. So what he did was, this is what you write. No problem. Now let's work on it. Slash. But the problem is, if you are not responsible enough, you'll be like, why is this guy?
You'll be offended.
Destroying my work like
this. You'll be offended. Yeah.
Something that I almost killed myself to write. Responsibility. A lot of people are not responsible enough to want to learn.
the music space has become into a very quick clout chasing space. It's a problem. So, like, thank God he has given an example, because we have the problem in media terribly.
It is wild.
Terrible. The music media now is oh my God.
And people, like, it's very easy if you constrain your TL to look a certain way to think information is only limited to that. And I was listening to a podcast session once by Sam Vankin about social media, right? The way social media works, he said it's erotism.
Yeah.
Likes and retweets.
Yeah.
Erotism, purely.
Yeah.
The way your mind works, it releases dopamine in your sense.
Yeah.
And you think you are saying good things. You are not.
So how do we check these guys?
Responsibility.
You just see.
If they're refusing to be responsible, then what do we do?
I haven't figured that out.
People who are employing it's also a problem of people who are employing wanting to start echo chambers.
Cloud gives you quick results.
Bruh,
That's the problem.
it's clicks.
Cloud gives you quick results.
And when your friends, your demographic is telling you that you are doing the right things, you are not going to want to do anything.
So the question, let me put it in perspective now. So the people, because from what you're saying, there are a lot of people that need to be asked questions. So most of the brands go to the most popular guys, not necessarily the most informed, right?
Facts.
So that needs to be checked. So brands need to pay attention to the people that they're putting their brand behind.
Yes, sir.
And endorsements or partnerships, right, that people do, or sponsorships that people do. Sometimes people forget, or most of the companies that have engaged forget that part of endorsements also requires that you develop the product or talent or individual that you are going into business with. You find a connection.
Yes.
And you say, if I'm able to help this person that connects with my brand, it benefits me in the long run.
It's brand equity.
As opposed to this person is the most popular and the loudest.
Let's give him
what is taken. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the individual themselves being responsible. But I also think that we have gotten to this point where a lot of us, even if we're actively playing, are really also participating. Because we've gotten to a point where, leave them alone. We don't challenge conversations. Mainly because our voice is not as loud, or we might be cancelled.
Or you're just tired.
Or we're just tired. So we need an army.
There's also the part of, so when you're asking certain questions, see, it also goes back to social media. That's the major problem. See, it's a problem. When the person who supposedly knows wants to ask questions, the person is not asking questions. It's cloud chasing.
Yeah.
If you want to really educate the person, pick up your phone. Go into the person's DM. Bro, this thing you are saying might not be that.
Yeah.
The person wants to argue, send me your number.
It's to your own point, right? I think I see how, let's imagine, like, you're like this is a problem, goddamn. You're like an OG and you're seeing all these new kids saying all this shit and you're like, huh? I think to a certain extent you guys need to chip in.
So what I do,
I'm correct,
is I DM. Like if I see 4 or 5 people arguing about stuff, I DM them and I'll be like, let's sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Right? So I hear them out. Like I remember a guy was talking about how, and sometimes it's just gatherings. Guy was talking about how he was at a place. He went to new manager, new artist, but they're doing pretty well. They were doing well before COVID. I don't know about now, but he was supposed to go and collect money, and he was kept there for an hour, and he got upset. So he was telling his boys, "Can you imagine? So me, I'm sitting there like me that sat. You're even collecting 1.5 million. Me that sat at one bank that I will not mention." For 3 hours for 250,000 naira check for MI. You sat for what? For 1 hour.
And you're complaining.
I didn't say anything. So he finished. Then I said to him, "So where did you sit?" He said, "At the reception." I said, "Is it one of those receptions that have the receptionist there?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, okay. So what's the receptionist's name?" And it's like, what's my business with this? And I was like, you're a useless human being. And the reason is because understanding, and so what I was trying to teach him was, you feel that the receptionist is irrelevant. That is why you're not talking to the receptionist. But what you don't understand is the receptionist might be the person that will tell you when a guy is actually coming in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Receptionist is the one that will tell you who in that space you should be talking to.
Yeah, can help you out with what you came
and
for.
understanding that, and sometimes they will give you this information just because you're nice to them.
And polite.
Just because you're courteous, just because you have respect, and just because you treat them like human beings. And I was saying to him, if you didn't learn anything from this exchange, just learn that you lost a valuable opportunity to build a better relationship with this organization because you were just an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like when these things come up and I see them, I message them. Even with my peers, there's a time when some of my peers were arguing about something on a Twitter, on an Instagram comment section. They were going back and forth, and I was like, this information is inaccurate, right? I said this thing is, but I think, but you see, that's the thing. I feel like those things are the things that expose us. So I saw those things, and I was able to say, guys, let's hang out. We've not hung out in a long time. Let's hang out. And we hung out and we talked, and I told them, well, this is factual information I have, that you guys were a bit on a tangent on this thing, but this is the fact, and this is the reference, this is the source. So just for the record.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, okay, interesting. But I think we need to do more of that. We need to have that conversation where there are more people, whether in my time or your time, that are saying this thing is wrong. How many of us? Because the voice gets louder when there are more of us speaking.
See,
This
is what I've been trying to say. See, the purport of arguing on social media is not to prove that it's not to learn.
It's to be the loudest voice. It's to be the loudest voice.
It's to show that you know something.
To be the loudest voice.
See, there was something that happened about, this thing that happened. Something happened about 2 months ago, and there was this argument. Sometimes you have to also understand that there are two versions of the truth. Like AQ always says, there are two versions of the truth, and both of them can be right. And you might be going back and forth for 2 hours without realizing. So it brings me back to what I was saying. People don't converse on social media to learn from each other. So don't do it. It's pointless.
So
the person is not going to admit that he was wrong.
So I'm going to challenge you guys.
Sometimes you can see. I mean, there are sometimes you can spot cloud chasing from a mile away. You can this was done for noise. Sometimes you can see that this person is just ignorant and doesn't know, and then you can chip in and say, this is this.
So I have a challenge for you guys.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to join, but can we identify some of those false narratives, right? Make a list of them, and then just correct them. No. When I say correct them, I'm saying, because if I go and search a particular word on Twitter, I will see what someone has said.
Yeah.
If I don't see an opposing view and I didn't know, I'm going to assume that what this person said is what it. So what if we can put out the right information instead, right? So when people go in, they see the two, and they're either forced to do more research, or we know that they're just lazy.
Yeah.
And I want to challenge more of you guys to do that. And I'm saying I'm happy to join this conversation whenever you're like, okay, the following topics are topics that we feel like people have misguided others, because they have followers or whatever.
Yeah.
So if 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us come together and tweet about this conversation and put out the right information based on facts, based on the right sources, and all of us are involved in sharing it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you guys, I know you guys are working on a podcast as well. You have a podcast.
Not yet.
Not yet, but
we're working
on
it, right? So you have information. How do we spread that? How do we get my students to repost it? How do we get more people who are informed and willing to get the right information? Ask questions. So even if they say, yes, it's you guys and we trust you, but what are the questions we should be asking to force you guys to do more research.
Search.
So I think we can start that conversation. And this is me reaching out to you guys to say, with all the things you've seen, and you have a challenge with, can we make a list of them, and then push the right conversations out?
I think the number one problem has to be the part of ownership. Like, you have to own your whatever. You don't have to sign to a record label. You don't have a lot of them.
So let's okay, so that's the first challenge. So on this podcast,
Yes.
this might happen before the podcast comes out, Sha.
Yeah.
But we're going to set a date and actually just
Come
educate
on.
people
Yeah.
and say because I know people that are on record that are on deals that are living their best lives.
They're fine.
Right, and
chilling.
the narrative that if you're on a deal, I know most independent artists will be like, I'm independent, best decision, and that's good. But there are people who have signed deals, and it's also the best decision.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's one thing we're going to do. We're going to do that. But to sort of round up the session, how do we win with all the things we've said today? What can be done for us to win?
Everybody
Working together.
Collaboration is very important. People seeing the bigger picture and understanding that what we are building is not just for us, it's for the people coming after us. People being responsible. You know, that you know, it's like how we complain about. It's funny, we always complain about artists doing something, but we don't check ourselves sometimes.
True.
It's like how we complain about artists jumping, artist development, and want to be superstars. You know, you release a single today, you want to be superstar in 2 months. People need in the industry, in whatever, you know, business part of the industry, or A&R, business manager, media guy, whatever it is, you need to be responsible, and that involves following the process involved in that your line, learning from the people that have been there. Forget about wanting recognition. At the end of the day, value is what you want. You want to have value. If Godwin Tom speaks, people listen because there's value attached. You may have 250,000 retweets when you say your opinion, but people in that space may know that this person doesn't know anything. So at the end of the day, you know, don't ever mistake cloud chasing or whatever for real value.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I think teamwork is. Absolute teamwork is probably never going to happen. Do you know why? Because people have their own agendas. It's never going to happen. But here's what we can do. You can create a team of. I don't want to use allyship because it's going to imply war.
But it is a war.
It is a war, actually.
We're
right?
losing money.
Yeah, we're losing money.
opportunities.
Exactly. So I think what we can do is create a system of people around yourself that you can work with. Different specializations, different skill sets, different things that they can bring to the table. So that if you want to learn something about certain things, you go to them. With that, if you build yours or you have your own team around you, then you can work with other people's team.
Yeah.
You can then share information, you can share knowledge. When they are bringing something into the country, they can say, oh, we can talk to these people. These people might also know another set of people. Like, we're always going to, not always, we're always going to work in maybe silos, but then the silos have to be like when an ant is around sugar, or ants are around sugar. Create the silos where people can work together in these silos. In this silo, they don't see this other silo as the enemy. They don't this one doesn't see this one as the enemy. We're all working together for the same goal. So when you want to employ someone for a job, it's not just going to be about your friend who knows something. You have 3 friends who can do something. So the best person you can work with and the best person that can do the job, you get them on the job. So we know that even though we are working in silos, it's still allyship. The reason we are working in silos is because of better recognition and better camaraderie between people. Because if it's one silo with everybody in the place, we are not going to hear ourselves talk. So I think that's how we need to think. A lot of people are already doing it. I think we need more of that.
I mean, I know a lot of guys from my time who we have regular conversations on many things. We have Zoom calls, we have sessions, we look at some issues a lot of us have attempted to solve a particular problem. We've solved a few problems quietly. We just fix it, move on. There's some we failed. There's some we're still on. But I agree. I think that we all build individual value to add to the collective goal.
Yes.
Right? So if I'm focused on, because somebody told me something, and me and PD laughed about it, and the guy was like, PD has set up label and publishing. You should go and set up label and publishing. And I was like, you just said PD has set it up.
So why should you?
Why do I have to go set it up? And he was like, but there's money. See the money he got from them. And I was like, well, if I get the grant I'm looking for my programs, then I'll probably be making as much money as PD is making, or as much as he's generated. So I don't need to compete with PD. As a matter of fact, I need to offer value so that when PD is looking for people to put in his business, he can come to me. Yes. He can say, okay, I'm going to get them from you, which sustains my business.
Yes.
Right? So I feel like that is where, when I talk about being able to develop our own individual strengths and then add it into the collective. So PD has his platform. I have my platform. Osage has a platform. Chin has a platform. And we all understand that the goal is to develop each other. So how do we take our individual platforms and work together for a collective good?
And then the problem also has to be, as much as we're also creating these silos, we also have to realize that there's a tendency for things to get stale. It's like football.
So what's the solution to that?
The solution to that is always looking outside. Bring in a new voice.
Okay.
Someone unique. Might be the greatest maverick in the world. But it's important to freshen it up. You need to freshen it up. And sometimes you also need to walk outside the people. So you have your silo, someone else might have that silo, some of your friends, maybe 6 of your friends might have that silo. It's also important that they need to walk outside those silos. Everybody knows the kings in each silos. You need perspective. So get the king of that silo, or whoever is in that silo. Oh, this is what we need to do. Let's talk to you too. We have never worked with you before. Let's work with you now. That's important. It is.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, for those watching and listening, we've taken a lot of your time. I'm actually going to cut this session into parts. And just, I know I wasn't making a mistake when I asked you guys to come on. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you,
thanks for having us.
Shout out Sal Cafe. Why this conversation is important is, yes, we're talking about information, but we're really talking about people stepping up. We're talking about leadership, people taking responsibility and being accountable for whatever it is that they're responsible for. And knowing that there is a need for us to build something, but for us to build it, we must learn how it works. You cannot say we're copying and pasting without actually making an effort to learn. Even if you cut them, I know there was a guy in my secondary school that copied one of our classmates and copied his name as well on the document. So this is what we're doing. We need to fix that. So I feel like it's important. If you've taken anything from this, please recognize that participating just for clout isn't enough anymore. It's important that we're all adding value and we're all bringing something to the table so that we can grow as a business for our kids, for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Yeah? All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming through, man. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.